If the charges are confirmed, a former Philippine president could stand trial for crimes against humanity. If they are not, the case could collapse before it even begins. Tonight, we examine the confirmation stage of the case involving Rodrigo Duterte. Not opinions. Not slogans. Not DDS versus Dilawan. Just this. What prosecutors claim. What the defense insists. And what the confirmation judges must decide. Because in international law, confirmation is the battlefield before the war. What confirmation charges really means. At the International Criminal Court, there is a critical filter before trial. It is called the confirmation of charges hearing. This is not yet conviction. It is not even a full trial. It is a test. Prosecutors must show there are substantial grounds to believe the accused committed the alleged crimes. Hindi ito automatic na guilty, pero hindi rin basta dismissible. Not proof beyond reasonable doubt. Not final judgment. Parang checkpoint sa legal system, pass mo, tuloy sa trial, fail mo, tapos na. But enough evidence to proceed. What prosecutors are asserting. ICC prosecutors allege that during the anti-drug campaign launched under Duterte's presidency, thousands of killings occurred in what they classify as a potential crime against humanity, murder. Important distinction. They are not arguing isolated crimes. They are arguing a widespread and systematic attack against a civilian population, as defined under the Rome Statute. The prosecution's confirmation brief reportedly focuses on three pillars. Scale of killings. Patterns in police operations. Statements made publicly by Duterte. On scale, they reference official Philippine National Police data, alongside documentation by human rights organizations. On pattern, they point to similarities in police narratives, suspects allegedly laban or fought back. On public statements, they cite speeches where Duterte spoke aggressively about drug suspects. Now here is the legal tension. Sa scale at patterns, parang sinasabi nila may method sa madness. The prosecution is not required to prove he personally pulled the trigger. They must show command responsibility, that as president, he allegedly contributed to or failed to prevent widespread attack. That is their theory. Not a verdict. An allegation. Kung titignan mo, hindi niya kailangan personal na pumatay, kailangan lang ipakita connected siya sa mga operations. If confirmed, a former Philippine president would formally face trial on crimes against humanity charges. If rejected, the narrative changes entirely. And that possibility is exactly what the defense is building toward. The defense response. The defense position rests on several key arguments. First, jurisdiction. The Philippines withdrew from the ICC in 2019. The defense argues that the court should not exercise authority over a sovereign state that is no longer a member. But prosecutors counter. The alleged crimes occurred while the Philippines was still a state party. That timeline matters. Second, complementarity. Under ICC rules, the court only intervenes if a country is unwilling or unable to genuinely investigate. The defense position, Philippine institutions function. Domestic mechanisms exist. Therefore, ICC intervention is unnecessary. Prosecutors argued the opposite. They question whether meaningful accountability has taken place. This is not shouting match. It is jurisdictional chess game. Parang laro ng chess pero legal ang pusta. Hindi basta-basta dismissal, kailangan ma-analyze kung may substantial grounds. The battle over language. Watch the wording closely. Prosecutors say, widespread and systematic. Defense says, legitimate law enforcement operations. Prosecutors say, attack against civilians. Defense says, campaign against criminality. Same events. Two frameworks. Which framing survives confirmation determines everything that follows. Kung paano mo tawagin ang pangyayari pwede siyang mag-decide ng future ng kaso. Every word matters, every characterization could sway the judges. Sa words lang, parang battlefield, legal battle, hindi Twitter war. Public statements as evidence. One of the most controversial elements in the prosecution's filings involves Duterte's public speeches. Statements about killing criminals. Statements about protecting police. Statements about drugs destroying the nation. The prosecution presents these as contextual indicators of intent. The defense argues rhetoric is not policy. Hyperbole is not legal order. Hindi basta joke o exaggeration, pero pwede rin itong misinterpreted. Sa ICC bawat salita may timbang, kaya importanteng makontextualize. Here is the question. At what point does political speech become prosecutable evidence? That is not a Twitter debate. That is what confirmation judges must weigh. What confirmation judges actually look for? 3 ICC judges will examine. Are the crimes within ICC jurisdiction? Is there sufficient evidence linking Duterte to them? Is the case admissible under complementarity rules? They do not decide guilt here. They decide whether trial is justified. Think about that. The confirmation stage is about probability, not certainty. And probability is shaped by documentation, not hashtags. In Philippine social media, conversations often collapse into camps. Sabay-sabay ang hatol online, bayani o kriminal. Bayani. Kriminal. But the confirmation hearing forces something more uncomfortable. Dito sa ICC, hindi pwede basta haka-haka o opinion lang. Documentation versus denial. Jurisdiction versus sovereignty. Command responsibility versus individual action. This is no longer campaign season rhetoric. This is legal scrutiny on an international stage. The bigger question. If the charges are confirmed. Kung ma-confirm, Philippines enters uncharted territory sa global law. The Philippines enters unprecedented territory. If they are not. Kung hindi, supporters sabay sigaw ng vindication sa social media. Supporters will call it vindication. Critics will call it failure of global justice. Either outcome reshapes political discourse. And here is the uncomfortable reflection. If international courts cannot hold powerful leaders accountable, who can? But if international courts overreach, what happens to sovereignty? That tension is highlighted. This case matters beyond one man. The ICC confirmation process is not designed for emotion. Hindi ito lugar para feelings o social media outrage. It is designed for threshold testing. Prosecutors lay out patterns. Defense dismantles links. Judges measure sufficiency. And somewhere between those legal filings lies national reckoning. Whether you supported the drug war or opposed it. Sa huli, pareho tayong pinipilit magtanong, sino ang may hawak ng accountability? The confirmation stage forces single question. Should power shield leaders from international scrutiny, or expose them to it? That is not just Duterte's question. That is the Philippines' question.